Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Pamela Sardi, and I'm a demographer statistician from the Census Bureau's Estimates and Projections area in the Population Division. In this video, I will walk through the Population and Housing Unit Estimates webpage on www.census.gov. As I navigate through the site, I will provide some important information about our website and a few tips to help you find the data you are looking for most easily. To begin, let's make our way to the Population Estimates Program webpage. We sometimes refer to this as the PEP webpage. You can either type the web address www.census.gov/POPEST into your web browser's address bar, or from the Census Bureau's main webpage, www.census.gov, you can hover over Surveys and Programs and then select Population Estimates. You can now view the main page of the Population and Housing Unit Estimates site. As we scroll through this page, we see on the left-hand side a list of links that provide more information about the Population Estimates program and the data that we disseminate. We will take a closer look at these links shortly. On the right-hand side of the page, you can see the widget linking to our population clock, which is like a car odometer, except instead of counting miles, it counts people. It simulates a real-time count of the U.S. and world populations by factoring in estimates of births, deaths, and migration. As you scroll down, the middle of the page contains featured links that will direct you to our data tables, the estimates release schedule, and two of our special products, demographic analysis and modified race data. Just below, you'll see a section featuring links to all the most recent news releases involving population data. Many of these come directly from the Population Estimates program, but some may cover estimates from other areas of the Census Bureau. The next section, Tables, displays links to specific pages of data. We'll take a closer look at each of these pages in a few minutes, but I want to call attention to this first link that will take you to our new Intercensal Estimates page. This page highlights our Intercensal Estimates series, which are produced each decade by adjusting the existing time series of post-censal estimates to smooth the transition from one decennial census count to the next. Once produced, the intercensal estimates become the preferred series of data for the decade. The files are organized by decade. Each decade is sorted into tables and data sets and then organized by geography and detail level. You can find our most recent 2010 to 2020 intercensal estimates on this page. So far, we have released total population for each level of estimates geography. Estimates by age, sex, race, and Hispanic origin are expected later this year. Additionally, for 2010 to 2020, the tables and data sets are no longer separated onto different pages as they were for previous decades, and I'll be discussing this a little more in just a bit. You can select the geography you're looking for and then click the link for the file you want to download. Using the tabs at the top of the page, you can find national level intercensal data back to 1900. Other levels of geography are available as far back as 1970. Now that we know where to find the intercensal estimates, let's head back to the main PEP page. The other links in the table section will take you to recently released products, in this case, the Vintage 2024 National Population Estimates Totals page, which we'll view shortly, and the Vintage 2020 Population Estimates page, which you can also find on the Evaluation Estimates page we'll see a little later. As you continue to scroll down, you'll see links to recent blog posts, data visualizations, and America Counts stories, which take a look at the stories behind the numbers in more of a blog format. You can click on these links to take a closer look at the materials in each of these sections. Back at the top of the site, we will now visit each of the links on the left-hand side of the page. The first link takes us to the About page, which you can also access by clicking the words Read More under the intro text on the main page. The About page provides an overview of the Population Estimates program and the data we produce. On the left-hand side of this page, you can see links to different pages that will tell you more about different aspects of the program. First, you can find information on the Population Estimates Challenge program, which provides governmental units with the opportunity to review and challenge their population estimates for 2021 and subsequent years in the current Vintage Estimates series by submitting additional data to the Census Bureau for evaluation. Then there's a frequently asked questions page that provides answers to common questions we receive about the estimates. Because the Population Estimates program works closely with representatives from the states to help ensure the highest quality of estimates are produced each vintage, there's a page that describes our partnership group, the Federal State Cooperative for Population Estimates, or FSCPE. Next, there's a link to a glossary of population estimates related terms that may or may not be included in the main census glossary. You'll find a link for related sites featuring population projections, international population estimates, and the State Data Center program. You'll also see a link to our schedule page, which shows upcoming release dates for all the annual estimates products. The last link in the About section contains information on the results of special censuses, which have been incorporated into the official estimates of population and housing units organized by vintage. Now I'll use the breadcrumb link at the top of the page to return to the main page of the site. From here, I will click on the next link, Data. In the Data section of the site, you can find most of the estimates products we produce. You'll see links for population and housing unit estimates datasets and population and housing unit estimates tables. Starting in the 2010s, we updated our site so each page contains all products available for that year, geography, and detail level, regardless of whether it's formally designated as a table or as a dataset. So whether you click on the datasets page or on the tables page, you'll see the same information and find the same files. If you're looking for historical data prior to 2010, it's recommended that you examine both the datasets and tables pages for a level of geography to see what files are available to best meet your needs. Our tables are labeled with clearly defined headers and are easy to understand visually. Our datasets are CSV files that typically contain much more data than is easily conveyed visually. Oftentimes, individuals who are just looking to display or understand the data will choose a table, while programmers or those looking to manipulate the data will select a dataset. For this example, we'll click on Datasets and then scroll down to the Vintage 2024 National Population Estimates totals. At the top of the page, the intro text indicates which vintage represents the most recently released data. Vintage is the word we use to designate that we're referring to a time series of estimates. Each of our vintages features data from the date of the most recent decennial census through the specified vintage year. Throughout our annual release cycle, which runs from December through June, we keep the most recent completed vintage on the site until the new vintage is published in its entirety. For example, we retain the Vintage 2023 data until the full set of Vintage 2024 estimates had been published. Anytime you have data from more than one vintage on the same page, you may notice anchor links which allow you to jump to the different vintage sections on the page. However, we typically discourage combining data from different vintages within a single analysis. So if estimates featuring other demographic or geographic detail are needed and not yet available from the current vintage, you can refer to the previous completed vintage data. Presently, you can refer to Vintage 2024 for the most recent completed vintage and consistent set of estimates. To download a table, navigate to the Tables section and click on the title of the table you want to view. Once the file downloads, you can click on it and the table will open. To download a dataset, navigate to the Datasets section and click on the link of the dataset you want to save. Importantly, each dataset is accompanied by a file layout that defines the variables it contains and features other key information about the data. Be sure to also download the accompanying file layout, which is a PDF file. With each new release of annual estimates, the entire time series of estimates is revised for all years back to the last census. All previously published estimates are superseded and archived onto our FTP2 site. Even though the latest vintage supersedes all the previous ones, there are reasons someone might need a data file or technical documentation from an older vintage. In those cases, data users can find links to datasets, tables, file layouts, and method statements at the bottom of every tables or datasets page. There is also a link to a searchable index and file descriptions for all files on the FTP2 site. This Excel file allows data users to easily sort, filter, and search all files in the FTP2 site. Back on the data page, there is also a link to Population and Housing Unit Estimates Data Tools, which features interactive applications created by Census Bureau staff to help you customize and visualize statistics from multiple censuses, surveys, and programs. One of the data tools available on this page is QuickFacts, which is a quick and easy way to access facts about population, businesses, and geographies. QuickFacts provides statistics for all states and counties, and for cities and towns with a population of 5,000 or more. It's great for making quick comparisons across areas. It includes data from the American Community Survey, PEP, and other Census Bureau programs. Back on the data page, you can also find our errata notes, where we identify errors that have been corrected and re-released. The final link on the data page takes you to our Special Tabulations program. Sometimes data users require a level of detail that we don't release publicly. In certain cases, user-defined tabulations can be created on a cost-reimbursable basis. Back on the main page of the EMP site, we can click on the Geographies link. This will take you to a page containing a link to map tools. From there, you can link to TigerWeb, which is a web-based interactive mapping tool. The site includes the current and previous year's vintage geographies, as well as 2020 census geographies, and can be used to search for, visualize, and compare levels and vintages of various geographic entities. Back on the PEP Geographies page, you can also link to reference files that define the geographic codes for individual geographies. Back on the PEP main page again, you can link to a page containing guidance for data users. This page answers common questions about which version of the estimates or special estimates product would be best for specific scenarios and addresses some common issues with downloading files. There is a link containing guidance for geographies users, providing relevant terms and definitions, as well as geographic changes. You can link to the Census Library, where you can find population estimates publications, working papers, and visualizations. The first link will bring you to a page of current population reports for estimates and projections, also known as the P25 series. These are reports presenting population and housing unit estimates and projections, with the oldest report dating back to 1947. There is also a searchable index of these P25 reports at the top of the page. As you scroll down the library page, you see links to our latest population and housing unit visualizations, working papers, publications, and videos. The final link takes you to a page containing all of the America Count stories about population estimates. Again, back on the main PEP page, there is also a news link where you can find press releases related to population and housing unit estimates. The final link on the main PEP page provides our technical documentation, but this is a very broad category that covers more than you might think. The first two links will take you to pages containing file layouts and method statements. Remember, file layouts are the PDF companion file for our datasets. The methodology page contains the method statements and release notes for recent population and housing unit estimates products. These documents contain a detailed overview of the input data, methods, and processes used to produce the estimates. There are also method statements for our special products, such as the intercensal estimates and demographic analysis estimates. You can use the anchor links at the top of the page to jump to the section you're looking for. But in addition to these materials, under Technical Documentation is where you'll find our research page containing links to information and even data from some of our area's major research projects. This includes demographic analysis, modified race, and evaluation estimates. You can also find a link to the intercensus estimates page we viewed earlier. Demographic analysis is one of the two approaches that we use to estimate net coverage error in the decennial census. The other is the post-enumeration survey. For demographic analysis, we use current and historical birth and death records, data on international migration, and Medicare enrollment records to develop population estimates that are independent of the census. We compare these estimates to the census results to estimate undercounts and overcounts. On this page, you can find more information about our demographic analysis methodology and data files for years 1990, 2000, 2010, and 2020. The modified race data serve to reconcile the race categories from the decennial census with the race categories contained in the administrative records data that are used to produce population estimates and projections. Without these data, we cannot use race information from the decennial census in the official estimates or our population projections. On this page, you can find modified race data from 1990, 2000, 2010, and 2020. The evaluation estimates provide the opportunity to make comparisons between the final series of estimates for the decade and the latest decennial census to assess for the accuracy of the estimates. Data are available for 2000, 2010, and 2020. Again, the final link on the research page provides a link to the intercensus estimates page that we viewed earlier. That concludes our walkthrough of the Population and Housing Unit Estimates webpage. Keep in mind that you can also view some of our estimates on QuickFacts and the Pop Clock, and that select tables from older vintages are available on data.census.gov. Although we are in the process of onboarding more current vintages of estimates and hope to soon sync up the data on that platform with the data released on the PEP site. However, at this time, the Population and Housing Unit Estimates website is the definitive and comprehensive source for population and housing unit estimates data. Hopefully, you are now able to navigate the site to find the data you need. If you have any follow-up questions, please email the Coordination, Dissemination, and Outreach branch at pop.cdob@census.gov.